The Atmakaraka Part-2. So, in the previous video that I talked about, the Atmakaraka, the basics of Jaimini astrology, the Karakas, on the basis of the degrees of a planet in your birth chart, it corresponds to a particular thing, a particular role in your life. So we're talking right now about the planet with the highest degrees. That is your Atmakaraka, meaning it's the significator of your soul. And so depending on what planet that is, we are looking into the effects that'll have on your life and insights into your spiritual purpose, destiny, and path to liberation. Okay, so it really is that deep. Gemini is a different school of Vedic astrology, but all of Jyotish is about lighting the Jyoti within, the inner awareness, within. Okay, so we talked about 4 planets in the previous part. We're going to talk about 4 planets now. Ketu is not considered because Rahu and Ketu are actually one. Okay, Ketu is the tail of the dragon, Rahu is the head of the dragon, but they're one. So you'll understand. Let's get started with Mars.
Mars having the highest degrees will basically mean that your soul in this lifetime is on a path of developing willpower, is on a path of developing focus, the ability to handle challenges, the ability to go after what you want, the ability to hold your ground, the ability to take action. Mars as Atmakaraka can be, difficult. So whenever you have a malefic planet as your Atmakaraka, it's generally a little bit difficult. Why? Because malefic planets are going to make you work. And so when a malefic planet is in charge of your soul's purpose in this lifetime, then you're going to have to go through both sides of it, the good and the bad, the energy in entirety. So even with Moon, which is a highly benefic, soft planet, then you have to go through the negative aspect of the Moon, which is that you can be overly sensitive, you can have, mental health problems and such. So when you have Mars as your Atmakaraka, you can go through a lot of ish in your life. And it's about aligning yourself with what you can truly take a stand for. That's what it's about. If you have Mars as your Atmakaraka, this lifetime is about being the, what do I exactly call it? Is about being that peaceful warrior. Sometimes it can be actually being a warrior. You can actually be an athlete. You can actually be a boxer. You can actually be a shooter. You can actually go into the army with this kind of, Mars placement as well. But quite often, Atmakaraka is something that we feel within. Atmakaraka is something that we feel at the soul level. That is the journey that's taking place at the soul level. It may or may not be actually, playing itself out at the material plane. So you can have Mars as the Atmakaraka, and you can have, let's say, Venus as the Amatya Karaka, which is the significator of your purpose, work in this lifetime. And you can be an actor with this as well. In which case, the experience of life will largely be still about dealing with Martian things in your life, dealing with lust, dealing with aggression, dealing with tendencies to gamble, dealing with tendencies to take debt, dealing with tendencies to take risk. Okay? That is the kind of energy that Mars as Atmakaraka brings into your life. You can say that it can be quite a bit like a Rahu-Mars conjunction or a Mars retrograde placement. It can behave in many ways like that. But essentially, when Mars is your Atmakaraka, at a soul level, what lesson you're here to learn is one of inner discipline. What are you willing to take a stand for in your life? You're supposed to align yourself with that, exercise your willpower, discipline, focus, and etc. Everything towards the development of that. And that is what is going to help you, transcend the material plane eventually. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this part. Let's get into the next one. Jupiter Atmakaraka. When you have Jupiter as your Atmakaraka, the purpose of your soul's manifestation on the material plane this lifetime is to grow in nature with wisdom. Your soul is here to fulfill whatever it wants to fulfill. I mean, so, you could be working as a doctor. You could be even working in the Navy with Jupiter as the Atmakaraka. It doesn't matter. But it's the Atmakaraka. Okay? It's the planet which is aligned with your soul's experience, soul significator in this lifetime. Okay? So Jupiter as your Atmakaraka is really going to make learning and teaching and acquisition of wisdom as a very important aspect in your soul's journey. Learning. I mean, even if you're a person who doesn't really like learning and you're like, okay, no, you still have to get a good education, let's say, quite possibly if you're from Southeast Asia or Asia, no, but getting a good education is great. I mean, you can get a good degree, you can work in the US, you could settle down someplace. Even if it's like that, even then, this process of learning is what has defined your life. And so, what your journey is in this lifetime, your journey in this lifetime is one of expanding your view of the world consistently. It's also respecting your gurus. It's also, upholding your tradition and your culture. Okay? It's believing in the knowledge of your ancestors and the morals of your society that, are dear to you, that you uphold. Now, morality is something which is very subjective, but it depends on what you think in terms of the life that you're living, how much of it is in alignment with your, morals or not. That is what Jupiter can represent. And in this perspective, in this respect, your entire life journey is going to be about learning through teachers, notes, ideas, through even your education. Coaches can work very well for you. I would say, go to, ashrams from time to time. So they're great ashrams. Go to Shivananda ashram, go to Isha ashram, right? You can go to these places and just spend some time listening to the discourses. You can also just, go to ISKCON every Sunday and just listen to a discourse of the Bhagavad Gita. You can do things like that. I'm suggesting, along these lines, right? Try out what is Vipassana. Go explore that, learn that. Okay? Learn what has always, grabbed your interest. I mean, if you're, let's say, interested even in India-Pakistan rivalry, if you're interested even in something like maybe, fixing bikes, learn about the history of bikes. How did that come about? And you're gonna really open up a perspective. Even if it's about a rivalry, go into the history of things. So history can be something that Jupiter Atmakaraka people can really grow through, and traveling also. So like go visit Greece. Jupiter, and having Jupiter as your Atmakaraka actually is a blessing. Jupiter is a very blessed planet. No matter how much you have or are able to build, or sometimes not, there will always be a general sense of optimism about your life. Okay? And the way to cultivate that optimism is to care for people who are knowledgeable, to care for people who are learned. That is one huge aspect of your karma, because that is how Jupiter represents, actually tradition. Because long ago, I mean, the Vedas, for many thousands of years, they were transmitted from one generation to the next in the form of these verses or shlokas. Now, there was no tampering. I mean, that's the uniqueness about Sanskrit, because Sanskrit has a checksum system, meaning that every word and shloka needs to have a certain level of matras, and the grammar needs to be exact. I mean, if you tamper with it, the whole verse is spoiled, and you can find that out. Okay? So this is how they would memorize, and they would transfer knowledge to the next generation for thousands of years. And Guru Shishya Parampara comes from this. And so in the same way, this learning, teaching, sharing knowledge, caring for people, that you consider knowledgeable, this is a huge aspect of how you will also grow in life. Okay. And Goddess Tara, so, that's green Tara, right, behind me. Goddess Tara is associated with this energy because she's the Mahavidya of Jupiter. So I hope you enjoyed this part about Jupiter as the Atmakaraka. Let's get into the next planet, Saturn as Atmakaraka. Saturn as Atmakaraka is actually a very balanced, what do you say, Atmakaraka to have in life. Saturn will reward you as much as you work. Simple. If you work to maintain good health in the early part of your life, still do well with it, in the middle of your life, Saturn is going to reward you with a long life. Usually, Saturn Atmakaraka people, I have seen they have long lives. There's a discipline that needs to come about in your life that will quite often be brought about through some difficulties. When you're going to feel, oh, Saturn is my Atmakaraka, oh my God, my life sucks and everything, like this is why I have so many problems. In the early part of your life, you're going to feel like that. Post 35, I mean, unless your Saturn is conjunct Rahu or Ketu, then that can be difficult. But if your Saturn's alone, if your Saturn's okay, even according to its placement, this is a great Atmakaraka to have. You will feel a sense of responsibility. You may have had to work in the early, through from when you were quite young. That may be a possibility. You may have had to undergo a lot of difficulties. It's quite possible as well. There could be struggles. I mean, you could even be in a rich family and you may just have struggles within, fundamental, what do you say, struggles about maybe things like your sexuality, or maybe things like, do you really want to study what you're studying? Do you really want to hang out with the people that you're hanging out with? Like, what's your identity? Saturn as Atmakaraka is going to give you a very philosophical experience of life. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you do, that's separate. At a soul level, if Saturn is your Atmakaraka, this lifetime is not about grief. This lifetime is not about sadness. That's not what it's about. It's about the work that you're willing to put in to your life. That's what it is. If you're willing to put in the necessary work in your life and wait, be patient, then ultimately Saturn as Atmakaraka is here to help you realize the effect that time can have with respect to manifestations, the effect that time can have when you learn how to make it work in your favor. Saturn is Atmakaraka. I'm telling you, I don't know about all of the other planets. Well, I do about, I would say, Moon and, Rahu at least, for sure. But Saturn above all is someone I can be absolutely certain. If you have Saturn as Atmakaraka, right? You are meant to be great, even if in a small circle of friends, even if you are alone in life, and that may be grief, etc. You're meant to be great. Let's say working a small business, and you're great to somebody, and they're like, "Wow, that person's great at what they do." That's the energy that is here, because Saturn as Atmakaraka, the journey is for your soul to realize that suffering, difficulty, struggle, all of this is a part of life. And all of this is meant to demonstrate to you the fragility of life, the fragility of the material plane. All of this is meant to awaken you to the true purpose of your birth here. I mean, you can choose not to realize it, but it will stare you in the face. What's the true purpose of your birth here? It's to be of service. That's what Saturn as Atmakaraka is about. The more you serve, and depending on where the Saturn is placed, I mean, that's a completely different, aspect that we have to study. It could be service to your spouse. It could be service to society. It could be service to maybe to nature. There is service for sure, which is the key to, your liberation. Okay. And that's about it. I'd like to just keep it short to that. That's the crux of Saturn as Atmakaraka. I hope you enjoyed this part. Let's get into the next planet. So Rahu as Atmakaraka. Rahu as Atmakaraka is definitely going to point out to a soul whose purpose in this lifetime is driven by desire. I mean, not necessarily in a bad way. It's like if they have, let's say, they stuck in their mind that I want $5 million. That's it. That's what I want from my life. I want to be able to just see $5 million in my bank account. It could be something like that. They can fail. They can keep failing. They can struggle. They can keep struggling. in their mind, what is going to be there always is that is what I want. And that is where, with Rahu as Atmakaraka, you have to make the most adjustments, where you have to make the most changes, where you have to learn to grow in the direction of that desire. Because Rahu as Atmakaraka is, oh my God, it's a completely different energy. And by the way, a lot of people don't consider, Rahu as one of the planets, as part of the Karakas. But a lot of them do.
Sanjay Rathji.
And I like his perspective. So I like to follow his perspective when it comes to Jaimini. So he follows the 8 Karaka system. And I think that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So Rahu as Atmakaraka is pointing out to a soul's journey in this lifetime, which is about sort of trying to game the system. That may be, something that you don't want to do quite often, maybe, but you're forced to do it. And quite often you're forced to do it by running into people who are already gaming the system and ripping you off. That can often happen. That's why it can be very difficult. So one of the things that you definitely have to do if you have Rahu as your Atmakaraka, you should visit a Chinnamasta temple and, get a proper puja done over there. Chinnamasta is the Mahavidya of Rahu. She's a very powerful deity. And so I'm not, by the way, whenever I'm talking about Mahavidyas, whenever I'm talking about Bij mantras, you have to understand. If you approach these deities or these mantras from the perspective of thinking that you're going to master that energy, that, oh, I'm going to do it 100 times, right away, and I'm going to, let's say, get a big, huge puja done with a, lot of money, and I'm going to get all of the benefits right away. If you try to do it from that perspective, you're not going to have the best results, because you do not have the capacity, you do not have the discipline to perform that kind of sadhana and expect results like that. But if you do this humbly, with a perspective of being humble about it and asking for help, that's it, not overdoing it, just a little bit as a call to help, then these things will work out for you in an amazing fashion. And obviously, just as much as not, enough, you will have to bring about changes in other aspects of your life as well. So just a small disclaimer there, but it was necessary, right? So Rahu as Atmakaraka can really point out an individual who is living this life as a result of some desire that was stuck in a previous lifetime that prevented you from being liberated. So looking at the nakshatra of that Rahu will give you a lot of ideas about what that desire could be. For example, that Rahu in Shravana, the desire could be maybe to just become better, to bring people together, to grow. That Rahu in Ardra could be a lot about power and destruction and destroying old patterns. In the same way that Rahu in Rohini could be a lot about manifesting abundance, manifesting wealth. Okay, so when Rahu is your Atmakaraka, quite a bit of it you will have to understand from the perspective of looking at which nakshatra it is in. That will tell you a lot of the story. But mainly this energy is an energy which is going to deal with foreign things. But it's not necessarily foreign things in the perspective that, foreign lands or foreign languages. Foreign things from the perspective that it could just be, let's say, a foreign technique, maybe, of packaging that they bring to their country, and then they start putting up factories with respect to it, and they're able to make a lot of money with it. Okay, they're revolutionizing something. Because why? Because Rahu is the entrepreneurial energy. If you have Rahu as your Atmakaraka and you are having difficulties in life, then what you need to do is you need to understand that the way out of all of your problems is to innovate. You have to become an innovator. You have to learn as much as you can. You have to learn. Why? With Rahu, quite often, you may have ideas which are so good in your mind, but in actual reality, there is a disconnect there. And so reading constantly or just listening, okay, will be very beneficial for you to be able to plan your leaps in the right way. That's something very important. As also staying on top of innovations. So, that's something quite often, because with Rahu as Atmakaraka, whenever Rahu is prominent, you can get lost inside your own head. you can think that there is no help when there actually is help. At the same time, you can find out ways where nobody else probably can. That is a power also that you have. So Rahu has this dual energy. There's, worshipping Kal Bhairava every Sunday. Okay, listening to Kal Bhairava Ashtakam in the evening in a sattvic state is very beneficial. And by the way, none of these mantras that I give you are advisable if you eat beef. Why? Because mantras of Shakti, mantras of Shiva are mantras which just do not go well with you know eating cattle, because those are sacred to Lord Shiva. Okay, so yeah. But in a sattvic state, what you can do is, if you are sattvic, if you don't eat beef, then you can just make a donation to these places as well. If you can't go there, and just do a meditation mentally. Sit in meditation, connect with that energy, and you will receive a lot of guidance. Rahu is also a foreign element, which can be beneficial from the perspective that foreign methods of healing, foreign knowledge, foreign, scriptures, right? All of them can be something which can have a very important aspect with respect to your life path and destiny. You definitely, if you have Rahu as your Atmakaraka, I would say that as soon as you can, please just go to foreign lands. Your luck, your life path will activate through that. As soon as you can. Or if you can do nothing, just work in some kind of a firm where there are a lot of foreign dealings. Because with Rahu as Atmakaraka, quite often you can feel a misfit. Like, man, I've never really fit in with these people. Is that how, it's meant to be? Okay. So yeah, that's what Rahu as Atmakaraka can mean. We have covered the remaining 4 planets. We've talked about the Atmakaraka. Next, I'm going to talk about the Amatyakaraka, which is the vehicle of the soul, representing what your soul is here to execute its karma through. So that has a lot of impact on your career, the career that you should pick, the, profession that you should choose. Okay, so we'll be going into that. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel so that you can stay abreast of all the wonderful content that I post here. I post a lot of content. I post every day. I have been posting every single day since January the 1st this year. This was actually my, promise to myself, my New Year resolution. So yeah, do check all of that out. And you can join this channel for exclusive episodes, series, and live streams from time to time. And it's soon to be added to Discord server. So, that's going to be good from the perspective of connecting and growing as well. If you want to study Vedic astrology from me, if, let's say, you are interested in finding out more about my style of astro-life coaching and the application of it, and want to do a course which enables you to help people, and you don't know where to start, then this can be a good course. This course has been designed keeping people in mind who want to shift from what they're doing currently to something where they can earn from helping people and also growing in that process. That is what my Astro-Life Coaching Practitioner course is all about. And, I even have students from the previous batch working with me. We did a podcast. In fact, you can check that out, a joint podcast as well. So it's a lot of fun. If you want to do that kind of a thing, or you're interested in it, just check out the link below. It will take you to, a form that you have to fill. Then we'll have a short 15-minute call. We'll talk, see if we can be a good fit, and take it further from there. Thank you so much for watching. This is Jay Kaushal signing off. Take care. Hari Om.